This video is brought to you by Madhouse Collectibles. Hey everybody, welcome to Transformers Masterpiece Theater. I'm the Rusty Mechanic, and this weekend I'm going to be at TFCon down in Toronto. I'm going to be wearing this spiffy looking thing. I'll be there on Saturday. Please keep an eye out for me. Feel free to come up and say hi if you do see me. I would love to meet you guys. That's not why you're here, though. We're here to talk about this guy right here, Deformation Space DS-01 Crimson Wings. Man, that's a lot. But this guy is super impressive. Even the box is really impressive. Another third-party company trying to break into the masterpiece market, although I think a lot of you have commented that it just seems to be an offshoot of Transform Element, which is fine. But it is a really impressive figure, so let's go ahead and dive into this guy. Let's take a look. So he comes in the box in robot mode, and as soon as you take him out of the box, you can feel the quality of the figure. There is definitely some heft to this guy. He's definitely got some weight. That just speaks to the hardware that is obviously inside the figure. I'm expecting some die cast inside the figure here, and the quality of the plastic as well. There's the plastic's got some really nice feel to it. So there's definitely some quality that's been put into this figure. Once you get him out of the box and you start fiddling with him, get him in some poses and that, really shines. It's just a really good shelf presence, just a really good looking and imposing figure. Cartoon accuracy is really good. They've paid a lot of really close attention to where the paint application should go, even capturing small details like these dark gray vent lines that are just below his chest plate. The red and white on the stripes as well, even the blue down here in his shin pads all match up really, really well with his cartoon rendering. Some really nice details around the head sculpt. I'll just bring him in here. We'll just zoom in a bit, focus in. So especially around the vents on the side of the head and a lot of the detailing around the face, right? There's a lot of detailing going on here around the chin and the forehead as well, right? They've captured this part right here in the middle of the forehead, which looks like some type of a vent. But when you look at the cartoon rendering, they have captured everything in the head sculpt that you'll see in the cartoon rendering. So that's really, really good. For the null rays, I actually thought originally that they were a bit big with a lot of unnecessary details that were going on, like the fins sticking out. But then when I took a closer look at the cartoon rendering, I actually noticed that these were actually a lot better looking, maybe even better looking than the MP52 version. And they do seem to be in the right size and scale. So looks like they're actually pretty bang on. And of course, they also do transform from this into the missiles that you'll see under the wings. I just forgot to pull the missiles out for this copy that I've got here. But as you'll see, right, these actually do transform into the missiles that attach under the wings for his alt mode. Let's just go ahead and take a look at the side profile. Really nice side profile. Really low profile backpack, nothing sticking out here. So all of this collapses very nicely into the back, gives a nice smooth profile on the back, nothing hideous sticking off the back there at all. So really well done. There is just a few small items that do bug me a little bit about the robot mode. The first one is the chest. I do kind of wish this wasn't so clear. You can see right into the cockpit. You can see the chair. Kind of wish this was a little more translucent. Or opaque, I guess, so that, you couldn't really see what was going on inside the chest. Not a big deal, just a little bit of a nitpick. The one that bugs me the most, though, is the split that's in his chest that's part of the transformation. It does really kind of take away from some of the presence of the figure. It's not a huge deal, but it does catch my attention every now and again, and I really wish it wasn't there. The only other part is there's a little bit of a slit here around the stomach. Again, I guess this is what we get for asking for a waist swivel in our figures. So there it is. The last thing is, can't seem to get these leg panels to sit into place properly. It doesn't seem to matter how much I fiddle with them, but there's always some type of separation going on here. And I noticed this in both these figures. When I pulled this guy out of the box and he was in robot mode, it was the same thing. These panels just don't seem to want to sit in there properly. Might need to fiddle with the fins and that are inside the leg to get it to collapse better, but it is happening on both sides too, which is kind of annoying. So let's take a look at the alt mode. At least from the top, there's we got a lot of amazing details that are going on here with the alt mode. Things that you would find, you know, in an F-15 Strike Eagle, right? All these details that's going on here, all the lines and that. There's even you know, like an indentation here in the middle, which is typically like the air brake that comes up when they're landing on an aircraft carrier, even down on a runway. But yeah, like if you looked at a picture of an actual F-15 Strike Eagle, I'm sure that you would see these exact type of details going on, even the lights here at the end of the wings. So really well done in capturing all those details for the alt mode. I really like this. So we open up the cockpit. There's even some attempt going on here to actually try to get some details into the panel that's here, as opposed to on MP52. This is just a blank piece of plastic. But if you look real close, see if I can get it in there, but you can see that there is some detailing that's going on there in the cockpit, which is a nice add. Profile from the side. Does have a lot of kibble and gapping that's going on right here. Not sure why this part. This is actually the shoulders on the robot mode. Why they're just sticking off to the side here. But there is a lot of, you know, gapping and paneling going on. You can even see the torso and the hip plate. While we're at it, I might as well take a look at the bottom. But this seems to be par for the course now with Masterpiece scale jets. The chest and the hip plates are, even the head for this mode, they're just constantly exposed every time that you turn them over. But you know, as I've always said, I mean, I don't think you're actually going to be displaying it this way, so do we really care? Cartoon accuracy for this mode is really close. I think the only thing that's really missing is the two dark gray squares that are depicted in the cartoon on the fuselage just behind the jet engine intakes. I think that's a minor nitpicky scenario. Wouldn't even worry about it. But at least they've got the stripes on the tail fins for this mode. Right, Takara? If I had to find anything wrong with this mode at all, the only thing that bugs me a little bit is that you can see the hinge points for the tail fin, because this collapses down inside the legs. So you can see these pin hinge points in the tail fins when you're looking at it. But again, that's being very nitpicky over this mode. Paint applications are really nice over the entire figure. It is fully painted, although I will admit that the red areas on the figure, like the jet intakes, the chest, the hip plates, they don't look painted, but I think that they are, given the fact that I did get some red paint transfer off of those areas onto other parts of the figure while I was going through the multitude of transformations. It is hard to tell when you're looking at it, but I mean, the paint does look really nice, and it's got some, you know, really nice coloring throughout the figure. The gray and the blue have got a really nice semi-gloss finish to it, almost like an eggshell. And then the red is more of a matte, which again makes it hard to tell whether it's actually painted or not. But like I said, I'm pretty sure it is. So like I said, painted all the way through. And of course, the stripes on the wings and the tail fins, like I mentioned before, all really well done. Really nice paint finish on the figure. And the paint is extremely durable. As difficult as the transformations were and the struggles that I had with it, there will be some paint and scratching and paint transfer throughout this transformation, so you have been warned. The paint actually held up really well. The paint did hold up really well for the dozen or so times that I had to put this thing through its transformations. Given the amount of trouble that I had with him during the transformation, I'm surprised there actually wasn't a lot more paint damage. There does seem to be some excess paint throughout the figure along the seams, and there's even some on the chest on this one here. So that's the only complaint I had about the paint, is a little bit of excess that showed up here and there. Just a few features that you would expect to find on a JetBot. The canopy opens to reveal the cockpit, which I showed earlier. The landing gear on the front and the rear do collapse. Pretty simple stuff. It just folds up like this and the door closes. The rear landing gear is a little more difficult, not to close it, because you can just flip the wheels closed like this. But to get them to open, you kind of have to lift up the knee just so that you can get at the rear wheel to rotate it back out. And of course this one's going to be a pain. There we go. And yeah, with the front landing gear, you just flip open this door and then reach in here and pull the wheel up. And there you go. And for the third feature, so the flaps that are on the back of the wings, they can actually be positioned if you're putting this on a flight stand or something and you want to show them doing a yaw rotation or a pitch rotation. You can position the flaps in such a way. That's right, I know some stuff. And the rear tail fins as well, the horizontal stabilizer, you can actually rotate those in the same way as well if you're looking for a pitch or a yaw rotation, right? You can actually put them into the right positions just like on a real world jet. And before we get any further, guys, I just want to remind everybody that I've still got my Push to 1,000 contest going on. So if you comment Push to 1,000 in this video, any of my previous videos where I've got giveaway in the title, it's all part of a Push to 1,000 contest where I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. Everybody that does Push to 1,000 comment in those videos gets entered into draws for t-shirts every time that I hit an even number of subscribers. So right now, if I hit 700 subscribers, 800 subscribers, 900 subscribers, you get put into a draw for a Quintezon t-shirt. Once I hit 1,000, I will put everybody into a draw for one of these two guys. FT Iceman, FT Apache. Somebody's going to win one of these two once I hit 1,000 subscribers. So like this video, like my videos, it helps out a lot. Share the videos if you can, and don't forget to subscribe. So we'll do a quick size comparison for his robot mode. First we have Hasbro's Masterpiece MP02 Soundwave. Then we have MP29 Plus Shockwave. And Fans Toys FT11 Spotter. So let's take a look at Mike Lorber's size scale chart, and I'm going to have to say I actually think Crimson Wings might actually be a little bit out of scale here. I think he's just a little bit too tall, a little bit too bulky to fit in. Starscream should really be a little bit shorter than Soundwave, a little less bulky than Shockwave, but he almost looks more imposing and more menacing than Soundwave and Shockwave when you're comparing the Crimson Wings version. So I think that the deformation space is a little out of the Masterpiece scale here. Just a warning before I throw this transformation video up, I will tell you this was the absolute worst transformation I've ever had to deal with on a Masterpiece figure. The clearances on this guy are super tight, so just be very careful and be very patient with it. Even then, you're probably going to end up with some scratches and some pain transfer as you're going through it because it's just so tight and so difficult. The instructions are absolutely useless. Don't even bother looking at these things. You might as well just do this because that's how bad they are. Admittedly, though, the engineering on this thing is actually pretty impressive. Once you've got the transformation completed, everything does absolutely lock into place for both modes, robot and alt mode. Once you've got everything in the right position, everything does just lock into place. So there's some pretty impressive engineering that is going on throughout this figure. Just feel like it was overly complicated for like what seems no reason. I'm not an engineer, but I just feel like there had to be an easier way to do this transformation than whatever it was that Deformation Space came up with. By the way, shout out to T-Man978 for his transformation video that he got out long before mine. Without some of the tips that he had thrown in his video, I'm not even sure that there ever would have been any transformation videos for this guy. With that in mind, I actually did make two transformation videos, one going from robot to alt mode and one going from alt to robot mode. You'd think it'd be the same steps in reverse, but when you watch the two videos, you can actually see that I actually ended up doing the processes in two different ways somehow. But they're out there for you guys. Hopefully it's going to help somebody. With all that in mind, here it is. Size comparison for the alt mode. First we have MP21 Bumblebee. Next is MP39 Sunstreaker. And then Fans Toys FT44 Thomas. And a special size comparison here between Crimson Wings MP52 and Fans Toys Iceman. One of the reasons why I'm actually choosing the Deformation space just for its alt mode is just I find for an F-15 Strike Eagle that it scales better with some of the other jet bots that are out there than MP52 does. I found MP52 was a bit small. But as you can see, the Deformation space and the Fans Toys, they kind of scale better. I'm actually planning on doing a full comparison video of Crimson Wings to MP52 very soon. So be sure to subscribe and like this video as well, just so you don't miss out on that comparison video when I do get it out. So Crimson Wings only comes with 2 sets of accessories, really. The 2 alternate faces that he comes with, as well as his null rays. We'll start with the null rays. They come in the box like this in his robot mode configuration, but they can be transformed. Unfortunately, these things are not much easier than the actual transformation of the figure, but they're locked in with a tab on either side here that you kind of have to twist out and get a hold of underneath. I actually find it's easier if you do have a spludger, just use the spludger. Just get into the back side of it here and pop it out. Tilt the other side down, and then the whole thing rotates down and around. Collapse the null ray down and fold it into the base. Clip this back in, and now you've got the missile mode that attaches in underneath the wing. There's a little bit of a pivot point here on the accessory, just so it's more for when he's in robot mode, so you can actually tilt his null ray to whatever you want. But that is what it looks like when you have it transformed for alt mode. And we'll take a look at the 2 alt faces. And I'll just bring them in. And you got the smirking face here. Get a little bit better light on it. So a little bit of a smirk face for one of them. And then for the other one, it is just a straight up smiling face. And the one that he comes with is just a straight face, no real smile or anything. The face swap is super easy. Thank God. And it's very simple, and it looks like this. So you just want to tilt the head back and just get your finger underneath the chin and lift up. And it will literally just pop off like that. It is just a tab in the back, right at the bottom of the base of the face sculpt that goes into that slot that you see right there. So it just pops out very easily, and putting it back in is equally as easy. You just line up the face and that tab, push it into place, and that's it. Crimson Wings does have a fantastic amount of articulation, some really outstanding work here for masterpiece scale figures. So typical stuff, we've got the head does 360 degrees, does go back a whole bunch, it does go forward a whole bunch, and it'll also do the slightly confused tilt look. Shoulders on a soft ratchet, it will do 360 degrees, but of course the wings do get in the way, but it will go all the way around. Shoulders go up 90 degrees. There is a butterfly joint that's here in the shoulders, so you can actually tilt the arms forward so that he can reach across the front of his chest. Bicep does 360 degrees. Again, the null rays sort of impede that, but you can tell that it will do 360 degrees. Elbows will do 180. They do have a double joint here. You do have to pivot this at the forearm first just to get it started. But once you break that point there, then you can go up 180 degrees, which is really nice. Wrist does 360 degrees, and it's also got a bit of a tilt. There are individual finger articulation. There's a pin at the primary and the secondary knuckle. Each finger is individually articulated, so that's a really nice feature on a figure like this. The thumb has a single ball joint, and it does also have a pin at the primary and secondary knuckle as well, so there's lots of flexibility in the thumb. And just like the rest of the Jetbots, unfortunately, there is no waist swivel. Oh, wait! What's this? What witchcraft is this? Demon, I cast you out! And an ab crunch to boot. Now, the ab crunch, I will tell you, it is not easy, but you do have to work at it a bit, but you can get a bit of an ab crunch there. The hip and thighs. So, I noticed something interesting with this, that you put the hip plates out, and you can get the full Van Damme, no problem at all there. What's interesting is that there is actually, it's on a universal ball joint, but there's kind of a double hinge going on here. You can actually bend that leg back 90 degrees for even more posability, so you actually get this 90-degree hinge going on here. Like I said, the thigh is on a universal ball joint, so there is some rotation in here as well. Double knee at the hinge. Seems like a bit of a hard ratchet in there, but you can definitely get almost 180 degrees, but way past 90. And finally, we have the ankle rocker, which is really good. It goes 90 degrees all the way in. That's part of the transformation, so that mechanism is there. And you get about 45 degrees out as well, which is great. Little disappointing. The only thing that's bad about the articulation on this is that there isn't an ankle rocker forward or back, but with the amount of articulation that is in this, it doesn't really matter. That's it, everybody. If you've made it this far and you've enjoyed this video, please make sure to hit that like button down below. Sure helps out a lot. Make sure to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss out on any upcoming videos. And please check the links in the description. If you'd like to support my channel, there's a link in there for buymeacoffee.com that you can use to support the channel. Also in the description are links to Madhouse Collectibles for all of your Transformer needs. And Mike Lorber, who's a graphic designer, he's the one that created the size scale chart that I use in my videos. Once again, thanks a lot. This has been Transformers Masterpiece Theater. I'm the Rusty Mechanic.